Gym owners, let's shave off 5 hours from your work week while getting more stuff done. It sounds too good to be true, but it's not. And I'm gonna tell you how to do it today. Here's the thing, a lot of gym owners feel completely overwhelmed with the amount of work that they have to do to run their gym. And frankly, this is pretty common for most small business owners, but it sucks. Every day you get to the end of the day and you're overwhelmed by a to-do list that always seems to keep growing. You don't feel like you're getting any traction in the business. You have a list of all these things you'd like to do that you never seem to get around to. You can't even get ahead of the things you've already committed that you're supposed to be doing just to keep the ball moving forward. And on top of that, you're feeling burnt out, you're starting to resent your gym, it's feeling like a cage, and there's starting to be a lot of tension at home because your family, your loved ones, your friends, people are not seeing you and they're getting annoyed with the gym. Now, I think we're all down to grind for a certain period of time. There's gonna be some seasons, particularly when you're getting things going or going through a lot of growth, where you're gonna be focused and putting in the hours. So I'm not suggesting that we're trying a 4-hour work week. I am suggesting you can create a gym that doesn't rely on you alone to do all of the crucial tasks. You can find people to trust to help you out. You can even increase your personal income while working less. So the gym becomes an actual vehicle of consistently making impact on the clients, the communities you feel called to serve, while you make a great living and have some freedom so you can take a day off once in a while. But this will only happen if you try a different strategy. What I'll tell you is not gonna work is just white knuckling it, trying to grind harder and get blood from a stone. There's no more hours, it ain't gonna happen. But rest assured, you are not alone if this is something you struggle with. Let me tell you a story about one of our Unicorn Society members who had a similar struggle. So we work with an awesome gym owner named Tina, and she is the best. And before she started working in the Unicorn Society, Tina felt completely overwhelmed by work, and she had a team. She had people to work with, but in spite of having a real business person background, she, by her own estimation, was not doing a great job of delegating, asking for help. So in practice, she was working all the time, around the clock. She wasn't really able to leverage the other people that worked for her, and her income was just okay. Happily, we had the chance to work with her in the Unicorn Society and help her out. Now, Tina mentioned 2 things that really made the difference for her. The first was she took our course on time management for gym owners that gave her a lot of clarity on how she was spending her time, how she might spend her time, and what changes she needed to make. And I should note, while we're talking about this course, for the first time ever, we are now offering access to this course for people that are not a member of the Unicorn Society. So if you're interested in checking out more about our course for time management, go ahead, click the link in the description box below. In addition to getting better with her own relationship with time and how she was planning and prioritizing, she also got coaching and took courses on how to lead a team. Because of course, the other piece of this is not just understanding what needs to get off your plate, but being effective at asking for help, at picking the right people, at training them and getting them better over time, as well as inspecting what you expect and making sure the things are happening. And now Tina is in a new world. She went from 3 team members to 9. And not only does she have a lot of help, but she has doubled her income. So let's unpack this a little bit and try to understand what exactly did Tina do? Well, here's the first thing I really want you to get on board with. You cannot have a kick-ass rock band while you're trying to play every instrument. Did you ever see the person on the side of the road, the busker, that's playing all the instruments? I'm like playing the ukulele and I'm doing the harmonica and I'm tapping the drums. Listen, that guy is super cool. He is not a kick-ass rock band. A kick-ass rock band has more than 1 team members. We want to put aces in our places. So the first thing we need to do is understand what are all the instruments you're playing, because we want to start to partition them out to other people and get some help. Now, at Business for Unicorns, we use a framework called the Gym Owner Task Hierarchy, which allows you to quickly assess the relative value of the various tasks that you might do in a given day to move your gym forward. There are essentially 5 buckets, and I'll talk to them pretty quickly. At the lowest level, we have manual work. Manual work is things like cleaning the bathroom or doing a staple run or even opening up mail. This is stuff that does need to get done. You do need a clean gym, but as the owner, this is super low skill and it's usually not something you need to be doing. The next level up, tier 4, is administrative knowledge work. So this might be something like updating a membership agreement in your booking and billing platform, running a report of declined credit cards so you know who to follow up with to make sure you're collecting income. Now, this type of work classically can be a little bit more skilled, it's a little more white-collary, but it's still not the most important thing. It's really driving value in the business. If we take a step up from there, now we're into tier 3, and this is delivering the services that your gym is selling. So this might be anything from coaching classes, coaching sessions, doing nutrition coaching. And to state the obvious, this stuff is important. And honestly, it's a lot harder to find great help to deliver the service than it is to do manual work or administrative work. And what that means is, as the owner, if you're choosing between administrative work or training a session, in many situations, you will make more money if you focus on delivering awesome sessions and taking amazing care of your clients, and then outsourcing some of the administrative work. Now, when we bump up past tier 3 into tier 2, we make a quantum leap, because now we're no longer working in the business, but we're really working on the business. When we think about tier 2, for us, that's a marketing and sales activity. These are things that are driving the business forward. This could be anything from writing email copy to working on your marketing calendar to actually doing sales appointments. At a certain point, as a gym owner, you're going to need to give away at least some of your hours on the floor so you have more time and energy to do the things that are going to really drive more revenue, which are going to help you make more impact and ultimately increase your income. And then finally, we climb to the top of the mountain, and now we're doing tier 1 work. And this is when you're developing your team and building systems. So this is really when you're working on the types of things that can give you some real freedom from the business, because now you are able to train and develop other people, not only on things like administrative tasks and manual labor, and not only on the training of sessions, but ideally at this point, we have at least one other person helping out in some capacity to drive sales of the business, so you don't have to do that all on your own. And then, by the way, if you get to super ninja levels, at a certain point, you will train other people how to train other people how to do marketing and sales. It is fractals. It's like a hall of mirrors. Okay, so you might be asking, all right, cool model, Mark, but what do I do with this? Well, that's a great question. So let's unpack now how you can use this to start to shave some hours off your work week. So a real simple system for you here. And again, I want to acknowledge, this is a YouTube video, so of course I can't get into super the weeds here. So if you do like this and you think that you would like to do a deeper dive, remember, go click the link in the description box below and find out more about our time management for gym owners course. So our very first step is we're gonna do a time audit, right? You've probably heard this before. Maybe you've done one recently. I think as a rule, people should do this at least every 12 months and sometimes as fast as every 3 months if the business is growing a lot and your role is changing. You wanna make a list of what are all the activities you're doing on a daily and weekly basis, and you want to have some sense of how much time you're spending on them. Now, you can either sit down at a go and write them all down and guesstimate, that's fine. If you prefer, you could spend a week or maybe even 2 tracking how you're spending your time. The latter is a little more time intensive, but it's gonna be a little bit more accurate. The former is less accurate, but easier to do. So I don't care which one you do, but you gotta do something, because if we wanna get to B, we need to understand where A is. Now, once we have this list, we want to analyze it. We want to understand which of these activities are sitting in which of the 5 tiers, which of these are manual work, which are administrative, et cetera, et cetera. And we also want to understand what is the hourly value of that task. For instance, in your market, it's likely a specific hourly amount that you could peg towards something like cleaning the bathroom, and probably a different and higher hourly amount for you to have a trainer train your session, and on and on. And at the risk of making this overly simple, once you know that, that's a lot of the game. And then from there, you probably have a sense of what to do, but just to sort of walk you through these final steps here, it really is as simple as understanding, okay, if I'm spending X many hours on X many tasks, which ones could you conceivably? Now let's start with that, because sometimes the barrier here is I don't have anyone to delegate to. Like, I get that. Let's pause that for now. But conceivably, if you had a magic wand, what would be 2 to up to 5 hours of activity that you could start getting off your plate as early as this next week? And by the way, you can do more. In some situations, you might find, holy cow, I'm spending 10 hours on super low value activity. Amazing, let's get that off your plate ASAP. The next thing we have to do is identify who can help us out. Now, like I said, sometimes there's a legitimate barrier. We don't really have anybody, or we don't really trust anybody. And there can be a few pieces of that. You might need to make a hire. You might need to get better at leadership and management. But for the sake of the exercise, I want you to just think through who can you hand off some of these activities to, right? There might be an existing team member. You might want to make a hire. For instance, a lot of gym owners, and I think all gym owners, are working with a fractional virtual assistant or an executive assistant if you need someone a little higher level that you can often get at really great rates and work with on a very fractional basis just to give you a couple extra hours every week. And of course, another option, which I've spoken about before on this YouTube channel, is borrowing with clients. Now, there is a little bit of peril here we need to be mindful of. So if you haven't checked out my video on what to know when hiring a client, you probably want to give that a watch first. But ultimately, that can be a super satisfying solution, because sometimes you can find a super competent person that is thrilled to take a couple hours off your plate each week, and the value for both of you is there because you will barter with them at the whole retail rate of what you would otherwise would be charging them. So they're saving that money, but that doesn't have the same cost to you. So this can really be win-win for both parties when it's the right person doing the right task. Now, the final piece of this, which unfortunately we don't have time to go deeply into this YouTube video, is how you train them, because that's, I think, where a lot of people get crossed up, because you don't only need to pick the right person, but you ultimately need to really train them well. You need to have some sort of SOP, whether it's a written document and or a video, and then ultimately you need some system where you are keeping an eye on them over time, holding them accountable by inspecting what you expect. Now, that was a very reductionistic way of looking at this, but ultimately that really is the system that you have to master. And if you want to learn more about that, you can click on our playlist about management and leadership on this here YouTube channel. Okay, so I hope you see it is actually possible if we delegate appropriately. You can not only reduce the amount of time you're spending, but if you're delegating to the right people, the gym can actually get more things done. And that's the key point. Because remember, you're not a one-man rock band. You're not like, hey, do, I'm playing the accordion and the harmonica and tapping the drums. You're a rock band, right? So get some guitar players up in there, get some bassists up in there. Don't try to do it alone. And if you're interested in diving deeper into how to get more done with less stress and create a gym and a business you really love, I think you're really gonna love to check out our Time Management for Gym Owners course. Check the link in the description box below. And just in case you're feeling overwhelmed, remember, the very first thing I want you to do after you watch this video is schedule some time and do your time audit. If you just do that, I think you'll get a lot of information, even if you don't follow the rest of the play. But I think that awareness in of itself can be valuable, right? Remember, think about Tina. This is totally doable. If nothing else, start small. Just pick like one or two things you can get off your plate to someone on your team, a fractional virtual assistant, so you're not trying to do it all alone. All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you're interested in finding out more about the Unicorn Society and how Business for Unicorns helps gym owners just like you create more income, more impact, and freedom, go ahead, check out the description box below for links to learn about our coaching group, as well as a ton of other free resources. Thanks as always, friends, for checking out these videos. I'll see you next time, where I will share with you more actionable tips, psychological frameworks, and philosophy.